This is Chris Potter, and I'm here today with the first twins in Major League Baseball history, Ed and Johnny O'Brien. And if you can't tell who's who, this is Ed, and this is Johnny.
See, it's easy.
Not hard at all. And I think we were the first twins to play on the same club. I'm not sure if there were other twins before us, but we were the first to play on the same club.
I may be mistaken. Ed and Johnny also played college basketball together at Seattle University, and they played the Harlem Globetrotters. Johnny, why don't you tell us about that game?
It was for the Olympic Fund in 1952, which is a couple years back now. And Abe Saperstein and Rob Rome of the PI got together. They went to the NCAA and got approval for the game. And everything counted with two rule changes. One college ball, one half, pro ball in the other. And 6 fouls were allowed. Bill Hagelin fouled out for us, and to this day he's the only NCAA college player to have 6 official fouls called on him. We jumped on top of them early, and they never did get to do their clowning. And we finally won the ball game, 84-81, and that was a big game for Seattle University. And Abe got so mad he canceled the other 2 games that were supposed to be in the Midwest and the East. But anyway, some money was raised for the Olympic Fund in 1952.
And you actually scored 43 points in that game.
That's true. Yeah.
Wow. And Ed, what do you remember about that game?
Just that it was a spectacular night. It seemed that everything was just up for the game. Quite a large crowd. So there were Hollywood people there. The game, the Trotters came out and did their Sweet Georgia Brown before. But interestingly, our coach, Al Brightman, we didn't know till Friday we were going to play the Trotters on Monday, and what he did is he said, we'll have a Saturday practice, and we never practiced on the weekend. We never had a scouting report on anybody. We get out there, and he said, we played the Harlem Globetrotters Olympic game. He said, I'm going to show you how to beat them, which was interesting. He said that Goose Tatum gets all of the play for the Trotters. He said, but they're a great outside shooting team. He said, so we're going to have our center play one-on-one on Tatum and hold him as best he could. But the rest of us were to sit tight on our men outside and not let them shoot from outside. And the second thing he said is they very seldom double team. They play man-to-man. He said, and nobody's going to stop John man-to-man. So that helped with his 43 points that night.
How many points did you score that night?
13, 14, somewhere in there.
Oh, can you rub it in a little bit?
He could have rubbed it in a lot.
Look behind you there. That's when we beat NYU in the Garden, 102-101. Ed got 33 points, and I only got 29. He made me carry his bags after that.
Can I take it off the wall?
Sure.
So combined, you guys had 62 points.
Yeah. Well, you got to do something while you're out there.
Yeah. Well, the O'Briens are here to tell us today about a baseball card that Topps doesn't even know about. This is a 1958 Topps.
Number 426, I believe.
Look at that. You got it.
Yeah, 426.
I peeked downstairs.
The interesting thing about this card, it's the Topps 57 card, I believe, and it's John's card.
Mm-hmm.
But what Topps doesn't know or didn't realize, it's my picture. It's not John's picture.
Yeah, that's
on
Ed's
the card.
picture on my card.
A secret kept for over 50 years.
It's now out. It's now out.
You know what? When people said to me, hey Ed, I always answered, and when they say hey John to him, he always answers. So
I'll tell you something though. John in 1952 won the PI Man of the Year award in Seattle, which is given individually. Here it is right here on the wall. And for the last 57 years now, they've had the banquet have made the awards, and they have all the
pictures
past
of the
winners.
former winners.
And for the last 57 years, it's been my picture in that book too.
Yeah, they got the wrong picture there.
Now,
So Ed's actually been there for 59
I feel like
years.
I won the award.
Ed's been there for 59 years, but I got the meal.
wow. Now, how often do you guys get mixed up between fans?
Not so much anymore,
That's-
because we pretty much travel together when we're going places. But I remember one time I'm downtown without Ed, and this guy came up and he says, John, Ed, he says to me, he said, I've been watching John, there's a couple of things he's not doing right, and he's giving me all these things about it. And I said, well, I'll tell John when I see him.
He actually hit for me in a spring training game while we're on baseball. The Pirates would bring, 45, 50 to spring training, divided into two squads in the early part of the spring training until he cut it down. And he'd work out in the morning, and the way it was set up, he was playing one afternoon, and I'd play the next afternoon in the beginning. So this day, I've got the afternoon off, did the morning workout. We're playing, I forget which team it was.
Kansas City.
Kansas City we're playing, and so I went in, showered, got dressed. I was going to go down to the beach, and I had told him I'll meet you down the beach. But I went over and watched the game, so he didn't start. And in the second or third inning, he pinch hit for the pitcher, and he got hit in the back on the first pitch.
With the bases loaded, got an
And,
RBI.
So he goes to first base, and I wait till the end, and he didn't go in the game, so I figured he's done, I'll meet him at the beach. So I go down to the beach, I'm laying on the beach down there, and down he comes, and he says, "Hey, you're going to be mad at me." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, I get hit in the back," and I said, "Yeah, I saw that." He said, "Well, I didn't figure that was enough, so Bobby Bregger's the manager," and he said, "I thought, Bob, I look like another guy in this team." Bob says, "Go ahead." He said, "So anyway, I went in and I put your top on," and he said, "If you look at the paper tomorrow, in the seventh inning, you grounded out short to first."
I said, so I had a pretty good day, but you were 0 for 1. And Chili Doyle, who was with the Pittsburgh Press, found out he was going to put it in the paper, and I stopped him. I said, "No, heck, he's the baseball finest, but I think the statute of limitations might have run out by now."
Yeah, I don't think Bud Selig will do anything. Did you guys have any incidents where you switched jerseys before the game so your coach didn't know?
No.
No, never did that. We've been accused of it, but
Even in Little League?
no, never switched. Never switched.
What about
We wore one another's numbers on one occasion, but we did it on purpose, and it was the number in the scorebook, and we had back in New Jersey playing a team, and so I wore number 3 and Ed wore number 4, but we registered that in the scorebook before the game started. Baseball calling, you were fined $25 for doing that.
all
All
right.
misused, it says.
What was I gonna say? Did you guys ever have any problems with your parents? Did your parents ever get you guys mixed up?
Yeah.
No, they didn't tell you guys right apart, huh?
No, Ed was our dad's pet. So whenever Ed did something wrong, I'd get belted, and he'd say, "No, Ed, if you do that again, you're gonna." That's what's going to happen.
Well, playing for the Pittsburgh Pirates in the '50s, Ed, what would be your fondest memory of the team? Of
The
baseball?
team, I think, the great group of guys. It was Branch Rickey building a team that eventually won the World Series in 1960. It was a lot of young guys and a lot of older guys meshed together in the beginning under Fred Haney. And Bob Reagan came in, but was only lasted 1 year, and then Danny Murtaugh is the one that really put it together. But, we're two great Hall of Famers, more than that. Let's see, we had Roberto Clemente, we had Ralph Kiner, we had Bill Mazeroski. So we had some great players on that team. And one of the things I think we were mentioning before, during that period, I discovered that we had played against 52 guys that were in the Hall of Fame. And it was
It was a great era to be
well,
playing there.
you never went on the field, and I started thinking about it. Later on, you're never on that field. I don't think there was ever a day we were on the field that there was not a Hall of Fame player on the field. If you're playing the Cardinals, Musial was there. If you're playing the Cubs, it was Ernie Banks. You're playing Milwaukee, it was Hank Aaron.
Plus
if you're
Matthews and Spahn.
playing
and Burnett and-
Phillies, it's Richie Ashburn. That's the Dodgers. You can name a whole pile of guys.
And Robin Roberts. He was the first guy you batted against him, really.
I had two great experiences. The first was my first at bat in the major leagues was off Robin Roberts, who was the best pitcher in baseball. That year, at 53, I believe he completed 31 consecutive games. And when they made a pitcher out of me, the first guy I pitched to in the major leagues was Stan Musial. So I got some good ones right in there. But great memories, great players. They worked hard. I don't think people realized in those days how the great players worked so hard. They always think, oh, it's so easy for them, but they worked at it. We came to the park. We had to be there 3.5 hours for the game. And, we were playing the Cardinals. We came in and looked down on the field. There's a guy taking extra batting practice, and behind the dugout, there was a little area where you could sit and visit with the players because you weren't supposed to do it on the field. So we're sitting there with Red Shane Dietz, another Hall of Famer, and I said to Red, I said, was that Musial out there taking extra batting practice? He said, yeah, he thinks his timing's a little bit off. I said, his timing's off, he's hitting 345. He's out working on his time.
Yeah, they all worked hard on it. I remember it was a pretty good deal, you know. I was actually a shortstop and a third baseman, and Ricky made me a second baseman, and Ed was a center fielder and made him a shortstop. So it took a little bit to get used to, but it was amazing how everybody knew one another and knew everything about one another, just like almost the minute you got there. The first time we were in Pittsburgh, and Ed and I, nice deal, we'd, you know, work out, take a shower, put another uniform on, sit on the bench, watch a ball game, and we weren't getting it. And all of a sudden, this one day, we're playing the Dodgers, and we're getting killed in the third inning, about 9-0. And Haney looks down the bench, he says, Johnny, he said, go on up and hit one. So I look out on the mountain, there's Carl Erskine. I go by Kiner, and he says, sneaky fastball. I go by Mekovich, and he says, great curveball. I go by Pellegrini, he says, watch out for the changeup. But this time I don't want to get out of the dugout. You know, I grab a bat and I get up there and look down at the third base coach, get the takes on. Erskine winds up and he throws the first pitch to me. My first pitch, and it's a dinky little curveball. And then it goes over the plate, and Augie Donatelli says, strike one. And I stepped down and I said, that's a great curveball. So he threw the next one and it went choo choo. And my mouth was just like that. And Donatelli says, that's his good curveball. That's strike two. So I fouled a couple pitches off, and he threw that curveball again, and I took half of the air out of Forbes Field, and I struck out. And I'm walking across the plate, and here's Roy Campanone, and he says, Johnny, them basketballs don't curve, do they? First time up in the major leagues. So everyone knew everyone and everything about him, so it was kind of like an elite group in a way, you know, and you appreciated being there. You played hard against one another, and but you respected one another.
Mm. Well, the game has obviously changed so much.
I tell people, and this is my own opinion, in our day, we tried to please the manager. Whatever the manager wanted, you did. He had me catching one time. I damn near got killed, but I was catching because the manager wanted. Nowadays, it seems like the manager is trying to please the players, and so it's kind of reversed itself. And of course, I come from the old school, and I kind of like that better, but I don't think much is going to change.
No.
Too much with the free agency and with the agents around now. The manager doesn't control like he used to. In our day, it was the manager who ran the show.
You know, I
He
saw
wanted
that
you,
the
you
other
were there.
day.
If he didn't want you, you were
A
gone.
player who's in some serious negotiation, not Pullhouse, it was somebody else, and they were talking to the general manager of the team, and he said, well, we're not too close yet. And he says, and I've met several times with the agent. He's not meeting with the player. The player doesn't get to hear what management's concerns are. It's the agent telling the player, stay off to the side, I'll take care of this. And so it's kind of disconnected in a bit, but you know, it's still a great game.
No, absolutely. Well, how many years did you guys spend in baseball?
I got 6.5 in, and Ed's got 5.5.
And after baseball, life after baseball, how's it treated you? And what have you
Very
done?
well, and that's a part of having the scholarship at Seattle University. We both have a degree in business administration, and I wound up in politics. I was a county commissioner for 3 terms. I didn't run again because I went down to the Kingdom, and I was the regional director, and then for 18 years I actually was the operations manager, and I retired after 30 years with the county. So it all fit together so beautifully, you know, getting a scholarship, getting a business education, which led to not only the sports part of it, but the administrative part of it that came on later.
And I, in '58, they had made a picture out of me, so I was pitching at Salt Lake City, and Seattle University approached me to return as their athletic director and baseball coach. So I retired at the end of the season in '58, and I spent the next 22 years as the athletic director and baseball coach at Seattle University.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, you know, we are glad to meet you folks.
Well,
Yeah.
it was a pleasure to meet you guys as well.
Thank you kindly. Appreciate
John,
it much.
Eddie, thank you very much.
Good talking.
Yeah.
This is Chris Potter, and I'm here today with Irish twins, John and Eddie O'Brien. If you'd like to obtain any more information regarding the twins, please visit our website at www.chrispottersports.com. Thanks for tuning in.